In the last video on this project, you guys saw me remove the post that was holding this roof up because it was rotten and it needed to be replaced. Today, my goal, or in today's video, it may not happen today, but my goal is to get my new 4x4 steel post in here holding this roof up on its own. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. This hole's a little over 2 feet deep, which is actually kind of on the shallow side. I usually kind of shoot for like 3 feet deep, but that ground down there is so hard that I think we're going to be fine. And since I'm concreting this post into the ground, it should be good. Now, the next step here is to take a measurement from the bottom of my hole up into the peak of the roof, or how high I want the post to be. So then when I go back home and see what I've got down there, I'll know what's gonna work. Okay, 9 feet, 8 inches. Well, I'm looking at my inventory of square tubing here, and I've got 3 10-foot 4x4s, and then I've got a 10-foot 3x3. So I was planning to use a 4x4 on the barn there, but I'm thinking about the rest of this project, the other things that I'm going to need to do. And the 4x4s are really nice to hang gates on. So I'm going to need 3 gate posts. So I don't think I want to use 4x4s for this. I think the 3x3 is going to be plenty. It's actually got thicker wall on it, so it might even be stronger. It just looks a little bit smaller because it is, but it's going to be fine. But before I load the 3x3 up, I want to cut an angle on the top of it so that it fits up with the roof nice. And then I want to weld a piece of angle iron on it so that I have a flange essentially to bolt the wooden roof trusses to. All right, this looks good now. I think it's ready to go in the ground. I didn't take the time to weld the cap completely because this isn't to keep water out. It's more to keep wasps out and any kind of dirt or, you know, whatever that might end up in there. But since this will be right up under the roof, we don't have to worry about water. We just want to plug the hole. Let's get in. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, man, that's heavy. It's gonna work. I've got this clamped in there and I can see we're pretty far from plumb, so I'm gonna need to widen this hole out a little bit because the bottom of the post, it's touching the edge of the hole, but it needs to come a little bit further. So I gotta take this back out and dig this a little bit more, and then hopefully we'll be good. All right, let's try this again. I've got a slight problem. It's not a big deal. It's going to be easy to fix, but basically the way that I've got it clamped on top is kind of holding it to where I can't adjust the bottom to achieve plumb. When I try to move it the way it needs to go, it just springs back because the way that the rafters are holding it up there, that's kind of where it wants to settle. But I want it to be straight, so what I'm going to do is I'll use a ratchet strap to pull that bottom over where I want it, and then when I'm pouring the concrete in there, it'll hold it in place. When the concrete dries, it'll be perfect. Well, it took a lot of messing around, but I think I finally got this post plumb and I can pour the concrete. All right, the post is in. There's not really a whole lot else I can do today. The next step, I need to weld up some brackets that will weld onto the post that kind of support these boards, because I don't want to just put like bolts through them, because that's not really a very strong way to do it. But if I weld some angle iron brackets to this post, then it'll, you know, we could make them like 2 feet long or something and really get some good support on this header board. I think the crossboard here won't really need any support beyond a bolt going through into that angle iron, and then the same with the roof truss, because really all of that weight ends up on the header, and if the header is supported well, then everything is supported well. So I think for now that's the plan. So as I'm just, you know, staring at this and admiring it, I'm also thinking about the layout of this pen again. So originally I told you guys I wanted to come from the post that we just put in straight back and make this area right here a bunk line feeder. And then about here, I was gonna cut back over to the barn wall and then put their water back in this corner. A couple people suggested not doing that because I make a little pocket back here. If I ever am keeping 2 bulls in here and they got fighting, this would be like a disaster if they got back in here. So started thinking about that, and yeah, that's probably true. It might never happen, but if it happened once, that would be one time too many. And you know, what is this, an extra 100 square feet? It doesn't really benefit them that much. So I think that I probably will just come straight back all the way to the west wall here. Only 8 feet of that or so will be feeder, and the rest can just be pipe fence or maybe a wall, because what I might end up doing in this dead corner of the barn is I was thinking that it might not be bad to have like 2 tons of square bales on hand. I could just hand stack them back here in the corner. They'd be out of the weather, protected. But that way, if I ever, you know, had a sick cow or somebody that I was wanting to hold out for a couple of days and they wouldn't have enough time to finish a round bale, it might be nice to just have a couple small bales to throw to them and to take care of animals like that. If I don't put small bales back in this corner, I'm sure I'll find something, because you know, it never hurts to have storage, and the more storage you have, the more you use. So it'll get used one way or another. And if we go that route, which I'm thinking I will, then the question becomes where to put the water. And I'm not really sure yet. I think that I'll probably go along this back wall somewhere because the water line runs right on the other side of that wall, so I can tap into it, I think, anywhere. Some of that's metal and some of it's poly, and I don't remember where is which. It'd be a lot easier to tap into the poly pipe though, which I think would be probably about right here. So I might pour a small slab here and put the water there. Not really sure yet. Let's get it fenced in first and then figure that out. But like I've told you before, I'll build this and rebuild it 1,000 times in my head before I actually build it. So whatever I'm telling you now may not end up being what happens. Anyway, let's run back to the shop. We got to make these brackets, and then probably tomorrow morning, I'm guessing, I'll come down here and weld them on. A couple days have gone by since the clip that you guys last saw. The concrete is fully cured on this post, but I have not got a chance to weld the bracket on yet, and that is because I either haven't had time, or the days that I have had time, it's been pretty windy, and I was kind of nervous about welding out here while it's so dry and windy. So it's a little bit breezy right now, but I think we can get away with doing it today. I threw this bracket together the other day in the shop. It's nothing special. It's just a little piece of channel iron with some angle iron welded to the end. And of course, I had to cap the end of the channel iron because I know the wasps would love to make a home in there. This thing's pretty much ready to go. It's just gonna fit up here on the post and hold this 2x6 up. And really, it's just a matter of getting the welder and welding it on. I'm back at the ranch now. I've got the welder here in the side-by-side, and I know on video it looks like this is pretty instantaneous, but honestly it's quite the process because you have to clean the side-by-side out, make room for the welder, and then pack all the other tools that you're going to need around the welder so that you can get everything here in one load. One thing that I did want to point out is that I designed this bracket in such a way where when I weld it to the metal post, I'm not welding anywhere where wood is on the other side of the weld. And I mean, the reason for this is obvious. We don't want that wood to start smoldering from the heat from the weld and, you know, weaken the structure or anything like that. So the only places where I will be welding here is just metal to metal with nothing behind it. All right, I think I'm ready to get all these jacks down and let this thing stand on its own. Well, there you have it. This roof is standing on its own now, and I think that that roof line is straighter than I've ever seen it. So this part is done, which that feels good because I wasn't really sure how this was gonna go. It ended up being easier than I thought it would be, but from here on out, it's all charted waters. So before I can do anything else though, I'm going to need to go buy some more pipe and some more concrete, but that is gonna have to wait until another video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.
Are you having fun? I saw the hole.